Excellencies, dear friends and colleagues, it's wonderful to be in this room today and to see so many of you here in Vienna as a second step towards our debate and discussion on a very important topic that is related to OSCE media freedom commitments and in a way everything that is happening worldwide when we talk about journalism, journalists, media, and which way and in which direction do we all go as a societies, as a global society, and what I would also like to see where the OSCE participating states are going when we talk about journalism, respect of free expression, free media, free flow of information, and all these values that we honor so much on paper. But when it comes to practice, we all know a very sad reality that we face in too many participating states of the OSCE and beyond. It is my pleasure to open formally our second meeting on open journalism. As I said during the first meeting, in May, we are all witnessing irreversible changes in how we receive and spread information. This change has empowered people to not only have greater access to news and information, but also to become part of the news-making process. News organizations no longer have a monopoly, as we all know, on providing information. Open journalism, in my view, is more than a 21st century version of letters to the editor, comments. It captures the ongoing development in which traditional media outlets not only make readers' comments available, but also more than ever rely on readers for information, allowing them to set the narrative. So for the first time ever, we have audience that is active and not passive. How we deal with this, how journalists deal with this, how media outlets deal with this, how governments deal with this, that's something that is of my interest at this stage, very much so. Online media covers a wide range of formats and languages. Today, the internet provides easy access to electronic or online versions of traditional print and broadcast media, as well as emerging new media based on different and more participatory forms of expression. Even in the case of traditional media, the internet offers a method of distribution which enables complementary and more interactive platforms to facilitate access to information and resources, as well as an easy, accessible framework for dialogue between media outlets and consumers. We gathered here today to answer many of the questions we constantly have. The questions are related to the way forward, but the questions are also related to the interventions that I have almost on a weekly, sometimes daily basis, and they are related to the attacks, harassment, intimidation, imprisonment, and killings of people engaging in journalism. No matter if there are so-called traditional journalists or just people engaging in communicating with the world. Is this something we need to control? Is this something we need to restrict, to suppress? Those are the questions I would like us to answer, apart from the technical questions that are very much related on the regulatory issues, on access to information, on defamation issues, on registration, accreditation, and all these things that are very, very much related to professional journalism. But can this be done in countries that are calling themselves democracies, and they are still imprisoning journalists, threatening them, beating them on the streets, detaining them? That is another question I would like us to tackle upon. There is a greater plurality of actors engaged in the media landscape. New platforms and tools equip practically everyone to create and share sound, text, and images. The audience is now, as I said, participating in the news making and distribution, and a growing number of alternatives to traditional media actors are all contributing to the public debate. I see this as an extremely positive thing, but for many people engaging in this kind of journalism, open journalism, it's not an easy task. Sometimes it's a deadly task or a very dangerous task, not only for them, but also for their families and friends. And I talk about cases, the cases me and my team are experiencing on a daily basis. These people, they have to reach, impact, and perform the role of a public watchdog, a role that is progressively being recognized by many international organizations and institutions, including our own, the OSCE. Obviously, this new practice of involving the readers and using their content stirs up a variety of questions, social, legal, regulatory, and ethical. While technology's changes mean that journalism and media are irreversibly changing, our basic human rights remain the same, online and offline. This is not something that I invented or the OSCE. This is a notion that all international organizations that are respecting human rights and having that as a very important issue on their agenda recognized. Human rights online and offline are the same for all of us. Yesterday we had very interesting interactions organized by CIMA and NAD in order to discuss issues ahead of this event. And we had extremely interesting questions coming from experts, journalists, media workers, dealing with these issues, also raising the issue of confidentiality of sources, which is extremely important in this particular topic. And in order to assist OSCE participating states to deal with these challenges and at the same time honor the OSCE commitments in the field of freedom of expression and freedom of the media, my office has launched this series of discussions among experts in a number of fields that are all related to open journalism. This is an ongoing process, and this is something that will continue in a longer period. I see it as a long-term project for this institution and this organization. And I would like once again to use this opportunity to particularly thank Sweden, Swedish government, for giving us possibility to start discussion on this extremely important topic. We would not be able to do it without this generous help, and also I have to mention Czech Republic and Serbia, who contributed to the possibility for all of us to be here today. The first expert discussion in May helped me formulate several recommendations to the OSCE participating states. Among most important ones are that the participating states need to acknowledge that journalism has irreversibly changed and that new actors are contributing to public debate through the media. The participating states need to refrain from trying to define who is journalist, who is not a journalist, what is journalism, and who defines it. In a way, this is a first step to restrictions, if we try to define this. The new media actors need to enjoy at least some of the protection and privileges that were in the past only granted to traditional media. There is a clear need to improve media and internet literacy in order for the public to have a better understanding of the new environment and to enable to critically assess where the information is coming from. Today, we have brought together amazing experts from the OSCE region in the fields of media law, regulation, to discuss human rights and legal implication of open journalism. This new framework has to be considered in light of already existing rights and other legal provisions in the fields of free expression and media freedom. As I have stressed on many occasions, technology does not change our basic human rights. What we are talking about are the new ways to protect media plurality and the rights of non-traditional voices online, and ways to give them at least some of the protection and privileges that were in the past only granted to traditional media. I have asked our experts and participants to focus on discussions on the following questions. Who are the new voices of open journalism? Are they properly recognized and safeguarded? How can the idea of editorial responsibility be reshaped in this new landscape? What are the roles, limitations, and legal status of new intermediaries, search engines, for example, web portals, social media platforms, etc.? What is the influence of current debates on issues like net neutrality and the right to be forgotten on the future development of open journalism? Should online dissemination of information on matters of public interest be protected by the same laws and practices as traditional media and journalism? Can protection and privileges of professional journalists be extended or reinterpreted to apply to open journalism activities? And how to apply ethical and professional standards to open journalistic activities? Is self-regulation an answer? Tough questions, and I look forward to extremely active interactions, discussion, debate in this room. I'm really looking forward to our conclusions, both offline and online, because we will have people engaging in cyberspace as well. Those of you who are following us through the webcast or on Twitter, #OpenJournalism, please send your comments and join the debate. During the day, we will try to answer all the questions that we already started yesterday during our tweet chat. With this, I would give a floor to our distinguished moderator, who is moderating this event for the second time, Geneva Oberholzer. I'm really pleased and honored to have you with us again to steer this bag of problems and questions that we have in relation to open journalism, related also to the OSCE commitments. For all of you that are not familiar with Geneva's amazing accomplishments and work, I will just say a few words. She is a senior fellow at the University of Southern California Annenberg Center of Communication, Leadership and Policy, and an independent journalist in New York City. She was a director of the USC Annenberg School of Journalism until 2013, and she's a former editor of the Des Moines Register, ombudsman of the Washington Post, and editorial board member of the New York Times. She held the Harley Chair in Public Affairs Reporting for the Missouri School of Journalism. And she managed last time to control the room of OSCE delegations, experts, and journalists in such a wonderful way that I can't wait to give her floor and to stop talking, because I think most of people in this room had enough of me talking. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dunja. I'm quite sure the room has not had enough of you. I am very impressed with the way you've set forth what is, I think, an enormously rich discussion, and I am very honored to be back here. I'm here kind of at the last minute because we lost the intended moderator to the Air France strike. I was intending to be here as a participant, and I'm delighted to be moderating again. I cannot tell you how important I think this discussion is. I've been part of many of these back in the US. Of course, all of us and our societies are going through these enormous changes in different ways, but experiencing the same challenges and opportunities. And honestly, I've not heard a discussion as rich as the one we had here on the last occasion, the first of these Open Journalism Project discussions. I think partly it's because of the internationalism of it, and partly it's because you really are framing it, I think, in a very appropriate way. That is to say, we accept certain givens. These truths exist, that people are participating, that journalism is changing quickly, that we as government and policymakers, as well as journalists like me, have to think about how we acknowledge and respond to these changes. And I think that what happens here is particularly important in that it is disseminated and the discussions here inform those that happen elsewhere. So I'm really delighted to be back here and I'm honored, and I thank you for having me. We have terrific panelists today. I believe you have their biographies, so I'm not going to go on about them. The questions have been set forth by our director, and they are complex, so let's get at them. The first presenter is not with us in person, a very distinguished person, Jill Phillips, who is the Director of Editorial Legal Services for The Guardian in the United Kingdom, and who joins us by pre-recorded video.